Hi students, today we're going to talk about ecosystems. Does anybody know what an ecosystem is?
No.
No. Okay, well, let's begin. Ecosystem, think about it like if it were like a community, okay? Our definitions, these are our vocabularies for today. Our definition of an ecosystem is that all the interactions of a group of organisms living in a certain area with one another and with their physical environment. Physical environment. We live in a community here. If we need something, we go here, we go there, we go get it. That's our environment. We live with one another. We live with our neighbors. We live with other people. We have our families. Here you have the abiotic and the biotic. You have the non-living things and the living things. Abiotic means non-living things, such as a rock. Biotic, it's the living community of organisms. It can be animals. It can be fish. It can be, small things that are alive. Ecosystems, again, we have various ecosystems here on Earth. We have the ocean ecosystem, we have the desert ecosystem, we have the grassy lands ecosystem, different ecosystems, which we will be talking about today. Okay, other vocabulary words that is going to be included with our lesson for today will be our herbivores, our predators, our scavengers, and our decomposers. Can anybody tell me if they recognize or they know what any of those mean? Okay, they're within our food chain. Our food chain, we've discussed this before, previous lessons. Okay, we have our herbivores, which they feed on plants. Then we have our predators. Our predators are animals that feed on other animals. And we have our scavengers. Our scavengers eat the leftovers that the predators did not get to eat, didn't finish eating. Then we have our decomposers. What our decomposers do is very important too, But whatever the scavengers didn't eat, or things that are within the earth, like organic materials, these organisms, they will eat it up and completely decompose, and it becomes part of the earth again. So here we have our ecosystem going again. So we need our herbivores, our predators, our scavengers, and decomposers so that it can continue again and again. So those are the things that make up our ecosystems. Okay? Well, I want to talk about the grassland. So here we're going to look a little bit about our grasslands. I want you to see how different they are. And if you noticed here in our map, Texas, if you notice, if it's shaded, we have grasslands and prairies here in Texas. You notice the picture, how it's, kind of, there's no trees. Do you see a lot of trees there? Not many trees. All right. Here's some more pictures. Again, what do you see? You see a lot of grass, right? That's pretty much what we get to see. Let's talk about this. Plant life. We have grasses, we have flowers, very few trees. Our climate, it's hot summers and cold winters. The rain falls 12 to 21 inches a year. That means they're very, very hot and very, very cold and not a lot of rain. Our landscape, the landscape is gently rolling hills and grassy area. So you see a lot of grass, you do see green, but you don't see pines, you don't see a lot of trees, you don't see a lot of other things. So that's the land for the prairie. Here are some of our friends, the community within our grasslands. We have a bison, we have a swift fox, we have a prairie chicken, we have a prairie dog, and a bald eagle. Okay, these are the ones that make up, some of them, not all of them, that are within our prairie community. Now let's look at the food chain, something sort of like what we're talking about here. The grassland food chain, okay? We have a sunflower, we have a fox, we have a bee, and we have a blue jay. Well, the very first thing that we're going to have that's going to begin this food chain will be our sunflower. After our sunflower, who do you think is the one that's going to be in the flower? Well, the bee is the one that pollinizes the flower, so the bee will be the next one on that square for the food chain. Okay, here's the sunflower, and here will be our bee. After our bee, who is the one that's going to eat that bee? Well, our blue jay. Our blue jay is the one that's going to be eating our bee. So our blue jay will be the third one. And our last one on this particular food chain will be our fox. because the fox is going to prey on that blue jay. Okay? So now this is the food chain for the grasslands. Now let's look at a different ecosystem. Let's look at now at a desert. Does the picture that you see here, is it similar to the one that we just saw? It's got a lot of less grass, right? Okay. And it doesn't look like, it does look hilly, but it's rocky, right? More than anything. And if you see on the map, we also have those sort of areas here in Texas. Okay? Now, look at those pictures. The plants are different from the ones that we just saw, right? And we see a lot of rocky areas there. Okay, some description. The plant life. The cacti, prickly pear, joshua tree, small brush, succulents, and low-lying plants. Okay, the climate. The temperature ranges from 20 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter, just cold, and it's over 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely hot, sort of like Laredo, hotter than Laredo. And the desert receives less than 13 inches of rain a year. In the winter, it may snow. So it doesn't get a lot of rain. It's very dry, very hot, and then during the winter, it's very, very cold. The landscape is rocky, hard soil with some areas of sandy soils, okay? Now, again, here are some of our friends from that community, from the desert community. We'll see a bull snake, we'll see a coyote, we'll see scorpions, we see a hawk, and we see a jackrabbit. Again, these are just some of the ones, some of our friends in that community, some of the animals. Now let's look at another food chain, okay? Here, this is the desert food chain. We have an ant, we have a hawk, we have a cactus, and we have a lizard. So again, who will be the first one on the food chain? Our ant will be the first one the cactus will be the first one on the food chain, right? Because that's the plant. Then the next one will be our ant. The next one will be our ant. Here's the cactus, and then will be our ant. The ant is going to be eating part of that cactus. So who's going to eat the ant? Well, the lizard's going to eat the ant, so the lizard will be the third one on that food chain. And the last one on that food chain will be our hawk. Our hawk will be the last one. Now we have another ecosystem that we're going to quickly look at. We have our oceans. Now look at these pictures. These pictures are completely different from the ones from these two previous ones. Green, I mean, there's blue, a lot of water. There's a lot of plant life underwater. All right? So here we have more pictures of the different areas of the sea. Now let's look at some of the descriptions of the sea, of the ecosystem, the ocean. Most of the ocean's organisms live in the sunlit zone, which is, sunlit zone, this is the top. The average depth of the ocean is 2 to 3 miles. In some places, the ocean is deeper than the tallest mountains in the earth. Can you believe that? Wow. The ocean contains about 97% of all the water on the earth. 97%. So it's pretty big. So that's wonderful to know that that's the largest ecosystem we have on earth. Okay, the plant life. We have the phytoplankton. The plant by the surface receives energy from the sun to grow, and bottom of the food chain. It's at the bottom of the food chain. Okay. Now the depth of the ocean, like we just discussed, it's 2 to 3 miles in depth. Some places are deeper than the tallest mountains on earth, and it contains about 97% of water. The landscape. Sun hits the top of the surface of the ocean. It reaches 600 feet underwater, supporting 90% of marine life. Okay. Here are some of our friends in that community. Okay. Marine ecosystems are a part of the largest aquatic system on the planet. Marine ecosystems are home to a host of different species, ranging from tiny planktonic organisms to large marine mammals like the whales, manatees, and seals. In addition, many fish species reside in marine ecosystems, including flounder, scup, sea bass, squid, butterfish, and spiny dogfish. Birds are also plentiful, including the shorebirds, gulls, and terns. All right, this is a different food chain. So I will leave it here, but this is what we're going to do now. I would like for you to get your notebook, and what we're going to do is that you are going to be creating a diagram that will include different characteristics for each ecosystem. We just saw the grasslands, we saw the deserts, and we saw the ocean. So you will put here your grassland, and then you're going to give characteristics of that grassland. Then you're going to make another one, and it's going to be with deserts, saying, giving different characteristics of the desert, and again, the ocean. So what you will do is that you will gather your iPad. You get your partner, and you're going to get your iPad, and you're going to Google on the National Geographic icon, and you are going to search, if you want more characteristics than the ones that we discussed, you can search there and gather more information of those characteristics. Okay?